Let's see, so in this video, this video is going to talk about this week. Let's see. My brain had a brain fog for a second. I was trying to remember what day I was talking about. So this past Monday of this week, I had a doctor's appointment. My primary care doctor was unavailable for that day at the appointment, so I had a different female doctor. And I scheduled the appointment to go in because I had a reoccurring rash that was super itchy. And because it's so hot outside where we are, and every time I would sweat, it would agitate the rash. And so I went to the doctor to have it checked and dealt with and see if there was anything I could do to get rid of it because nothing was working. But when I got there, my initial plan was just to have them examine the rash, and then they would prescribe medicine to see if they could deal with it and get rid of it because it was super itchy. Now, I knew ahead of time that I was basically long overdue medically for a scheduled Pap Smear. But I thought that you had to schedule to have that done before you go to the doctor. I never got around to scheduling for it because I was either so busy with other things or I literally just completely forgot. And so when I get there, I'm waiting for the nurse to take all my vitals and everything, and then for us to sit down and discuss what I need help with for my initial visit of being there. And I end up going to the bathroom. I come back, and when I come back to the room, I see different things laying out on the table and on the bed, and I looked at her and I'm like, what is all this for? And she goes, you're overdue for Pap Smear. And I'm like, yes, I'm aware of that. I just haven't gotten around to scheduling it yet. And she goes, do you remember when your last one was? And I'm like, 3-4 years ago, possibly. I've kind of lost track since the pandemic hit, and I don't remember. I honestly don't. And but I knew it was around 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years ago at this point, because the pandemic seriously threw me off so badly that I had a hard time remembering what year we were on during that whole time. So, yeah, I really didn't know how long it had been completely, like a full estimate. I just knew it was somewhere in a 3 to 4 year long period. And she goes, well, since you're here, we're going to go ahead and do it. And I'm like, okay. She goes, have you had one before? And I'm like, yes. She goes, okay, so you know what to expect. I'm like, yeah. I just wasn't expecting that it was going to happen today. And I looked at her and said, well, okay then. So she has me get ready for the procedure. I'm like, okay then. So I get ready, and I sit there and I wait, and I'm texting my husband, letting him know what was going on, and that it was, to me, I was not expecting it. I wasn't aware it was going to happen, but I let him know that I'm just going to be a few minutes longer than expected because I didn't know this was going to happen. He goes, okay. I'm also scrolling through Facebook on my phone waiting until the doctor comes in. She comes in, she gets straight to the point. I tell her what I'm dealing with and that I initially came in for a rash. So when we're done with that, she does look at my rash to see what's going on with it. And then she proceeds to take care of the Pap Smear. And it went fairly quickly. I mean, it was a lot, like my first time having a Pap Smear, that actually took 15-20 minutes long. I don't know why. It took a while. And that was my first time experiencing it, so I assumed it was going to take that long this next time. That's why I sent him a message saying I might be a little bit longer than expected. And it literally took her not even a minute. And I'm like, in my head I'm thinking, well, that was quick. And she saw the confused look on my face, and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you were in and out, and you were fast. I'm like, it only took you barely a minute to do it. She goes, yeah, it doesn't take that long. And I'm like, and she's like, you've had one before, right? I said, yeah. And she goes, and how long did it take them? I said, 15 to 20 minutes at the most. And she goes, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I really thought it was going to take you 15 to 20 minutes. That's why I told my husband I might be a little bit longer in here than I expected. But it took you way less than it did the last doctor. So she looked at me and goes, huh, shouldn't take that long. And I'm like, I don't know. I was surprised. I literally thought it was going to take her 20 minutes, and it didn't. So that was a surprise. And so they ran the tests and everything while I got dressed, and then she comes back with the analysis of the rash, gives me medication for it, and she goes, well, your thing came back normal. You're good to go. And I'm like, okay. So that was them letting me know that I'm in good health as far as the Pap Smear goes. So she prescribed medication for the rash. So I did ask her what she would recommend to use to prevent excessive sweating from affecting the rash. And that's when she said, what was the word she used? Zinc oxide. That's the word she used. I had to look it up because I didn't know what that was. Basically, it's those diaper rash stuff you use on a baby. It prevents excessive sweating and moisture from affecting the skin. And I'm like, okay. So my husband and I went to Walmart and got some. And it's been helping keeping sweat from affecting the rash until it's completely gone. So, but yeah. So that was Monday's appointment. That's it for that one.